Most people think success is about how much money you make. But here is what nobody tells you. The people who actually build lasting wealth, the ones who retire early, sleep well at night, and never panic when life gets expensive, they are not necessarily the highest earners in the room. They are the ones who think about money differently. There is a specific psychology behind financial success, a set of habits, mental shifts, and daily decisions that separate people who build wealth from people who earn a lot but somehow always feel broke. Today, we are going to walk through 15 of those principles. Not theories, not get-rich motivation, real, grounded financial psychology, the kind that actually changes how you behave with money when nobody is watching. Let's get into it. Here is a number most people ignore. $5 a day. That is a cup of coffee, a small snack. Something you probably do not even remember buying by the end of the week. But $5 a day, invested consistently over 30 years at an average return of 8%, becomes over $200,000. That is not magic. That is compound interest, and it is the single most powerful force in personal finance. The psychology behind this is important. Our brains are wired to dismiss small amounts. We think, what difference does this make? But successful people have trained themselves to see every small saving not as a sacrifice, but as a seed. They understand that wealth is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in the quiet, consistent, unglamorous decision to keep planting, even when the harvest feels impossibly far away. Small is not small. Small, repeated over time, is everything. Successful people have a rule that most people never develop. Before any non-essential purchase, they pause. Not for a second, not a quick glance at their bank balance. A genuine, deliberate pause, sometimes 24 hours, sometimes a week. This is called the cooling off period, and it is one of the most effective financial habits ever studied. Here is what psychology tells us. Most impulsive purchases are driven by emotion, excitement, boredom, stress, or the desire to reward yourself. These feelings are real, but they are temporary. The item will still be there tomorrow. And here's what usually happens when successful people apply this rule. The desire fades, the excitement drops, and they realize they did not actually want the thing. They wanted the feeling the thing promised to give them. Think twice. Not to torture yourself, but to give your rational mind a chance to catch up with your emotional one. You cannot manage what you do not measure. This is true in business, it is true in health, and it is absolutely true with money. Most people have a rough idea of what they spend. Successful people know exactly what they spend, down to the categories, the patterns, and the places where money quietly disappears. Research shows that the simple act of tracking expenses, even before changing any behavior, reduces spending by up to 15%. Why? Because awareness creates accountability. When you see that you spent $400 on eating out last month, something shifts. Not shame, just clarity. And clarity is where better decisions are born. You do not need a complicated system, a notebook, a spreadsheet, or a free app. The tool does not matter, the habit does. Track everything, every time, no exceptions. This one is uncomfortable, but it might be the most important point in this entire video. There is a term in psychology called social comparison. It is our deeply human tendency to measure our own success by looking at the people around us. And it is costing people a fortune. The car that is slightly too expensive, the holiday posted on social media, the designer item bought not because you love it, but because of how it makes you look. Here is the brutal truth. The people you are trying to impress are either not paying attention, or they are doing the same thing to impress someone else. Wealthy people, genuinely wealthy people, are notoriously unbothered by appearances. They drive ordinary cars, they wear unremarkable clothes, because they understand something deeply. Real wealth is invisible. The goal is not to look successful, the goal is to be financially free. And those two things very rarely look the same. The word budget makes a lot of people uncomfortable. It feels restrictive, like being told what you cannot have. Like financial punishment, but that is exactly backwards. A budget is not a cage. A budget is a plan. It is you in a calm moment, deciding how your future self will spend money, before emotion, impulse, or a convincing sales pitch gets involved. Successful people do not budget because they are forced to. They budget because it gives them control. When your money has a plan, nothing surprises you. You are not anxious about bills. You are not confused about why your account is low. You already know exactly where everything went because you decided in advance. A simple rule to start: the 50-30-20 method. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings and debt. Adjust it to your life. But start somewhere. A budget is the foundation every other financial habit stands on. Here is something that will surprise you. Almost everything in your financial life is negotiable. Your salary, your rent, your phone bill, your insurance premiums, your credit card interest rate, the price of a car, the fee for a service. Most people never ask. They see a price and assume it is fixed. They accept the first offer because they feel uncomfortable pushing back. But successful people know that asking costs nothing. Studies on salary negotiation alone show that people who negotiate their starting salary earn an average of $5,000 more per year, which compounds dramatically over a career. Negotiation is not aggression. It is not rudeness. It is a calm, respectful conversation that says, "I value my money, and I would like to understand if there is flexibility here." The worst anyone can say is no, and you are no worse off than before you asked. Start small. Negotiate your next phone bill. Ask for a discount on your next large purchase. Build the muscle. Saving money is important, but saving alone will not build wealth. Here is why. Inflation, the slow, steady rise in the cost of everything, quietly eats away at money that is just sitting still. Money in a basic savings account is not growing. In real terms, it is shrinking. Investing is how you make your money work while you sleep. Now, you do not need to be a financial expert to start. The basics are simpler than most people think. Index funds, a diversified portfolio, consistent contributions over a long time horizon. This is the approach that has generated more ordinary person wealth than any other strategy in history. The key word is wisely. Wise investing is boring. It is not exciting. It does not make for impressive dinner conversation, but it works slowly, quietly, and reliably for the people patient enough to stick with it. You do not need to time the market. You just need to be in the market consistently over time. If something promises extraordinary returns with minimal risk, walk away. This is not pessimism. This is pattern recognition. Every generation has its version of the get-rich-quick scheme, the multi-level marketing opportunity, the crypto token no one has heard of, the investment that guarantees 50% returns, the course that promises to make you a millionaire in 90 days. They all rely on the same psychology: urgency, exclusivity, and the very human desire to believe that there is a shortcut. Here is what successful people understand deeply. There is no shortcut to building real wealth. There is only time, discipline, and compounding. Anyone promising otherwise is either mistaken or lying. The get-rich-quick mindset is not just financially dangerous, it is psychologically dangerous. Because every time you chase a shortcut and lose, your confidence in your own financial judgment takes a hit. Protect your money and protect your belief in yourself. Slow and steady is not boring. Slow and steady is winning. Successful people do not save what is left over at the end of the month. They save first and live on what remains. This is called paying yourself first, and it is one of the most transformative shifts in financial psychology you can make. When saving is a choice you make after all your spending, it almost never happens. There is always something that needs the money more urgently. Always a reason to delay. But when saving is automatic, when it happens the moment your income arrives, before you even see it, you adapt. You live within what remains, and your savings grow without requiring willpower every single month. Set up an automatic transfer. Even if it is 10%, even if it is 5%, make it non-negotiable the same way your rent is non-negotiable. The same way your electricity bill is non-negotiable. Your future self is a bill worth paying. Every single month, without exception, you get a raise. And almost immediately, almost without noticing, your spending rises to match it. A nicer apartment, a better car, more dining out, more subscriptions, more. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the quietest killers of financial progress. The psychological trap is subtle. Each individual upgrade feels reasonable. You earned more. Why not enjoy it? But the person who earns $50,000 and saves 10% is building more wealth than the person who earns $100,000 and saves nothing. Income alone does not create wealth. The gap between what you earn and what you spend creates wealth. Every time your income increases, resist the immediate urge to upgrade everything. Let at least half of every raise go directly to savings or investments before your lifestyle has a chance to claim it. You can enjoy the fruits of your work. Just do not let your expenses grow faster than your income. This sounds simple. It is not. A need is something that sustains your life or your ability to function. Food, shelter, basic clothing, transport to work. A want is everything else. But here's where it gets complicated. Our minds are extraordinarily good at reclassifying wants as needs. The new phone is not just a want. I need it for work. The expensive gym membership is not just a want. I need it for my health. The holiday is not just a want. I need it for my mental well-being. Sometimes these justifications are true. Often they are not. Successful people apply a simple test. They ask, if I lost my income tomorrow, would I still find a way to have this? If the answer is no, it is a want. Wants are not bad. Wanting things is human. But calling a want a need to avoid the discomfort of the decision, that is where financial trouble quietly begins. Life is unpredictable. The car breaks down. The job disappears. The medical bill arrives. The roof leaks. These are not worst-case scenarios. These are Tuesday. An emergency fund is not a luxury. It is the foundation that every other financial habit stands on. Without it, a single unexpected expense becomes a crisis. You dip into savings, you take on debt, you undo months of financial progress in a single week. With it, the same event is just an inconvenience. You handle it, you move on. Your long-term plans are untouched. The standard recommendation is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. If that feels impossible right now, start with 1 month, then build from there. An emergency fund is not pessimism. It is the most optimistic thing you can do with your money because it means you trust yourself to handle whatever comes. Money without a purpose finds its own purpose, and it is rarely a good one. Successful people practice what is known as zero-based budgeting. The idea that every single dollar of income should be assigned a job before the month begins. Some dollars pay bills, some buy groceries, some go into savings, some go into investments. Some deliberately go toward enjoyment. When every dollar has a mission, nothing is wasted. Nothing disappears into the quiet drain of aimless spending. This is not about restriction. It is about intention. The person who deliberately assigns $50 a month to entertainment and spends it guilt-free is in a far healthier financial position than the person who spends randomly and feels vaguely anxious about money all month. Give your money direction. Because money without direction will always find somewhere to go, and you probably will not like where it ends up. Diversification is one of the oldest and most proven principles in finance. And yet, most people ignore it. They keep all their savings in one bank account, or they put everything into one investment, or they trust one financial institution with everything they have built. The risk is not just financial, it is psychological. When everything is in one place, any threat to that one place becomes a threat to everything. Your entire financial security can unravel from a single point of failure. Successful people spread their risk deliberately. Different savings accounts, different asset classes, different investment types, stocks, bonds, property, cash reserves. The goal is not maximum return. The goal is resilience. A portfolio that survives bad years will always outperform a portfolio that chases maximum return and collapses when the market turns. Spread your risk. Protect what you have built. Never let one bad decision or one bad market take everything. This is the final point, and in many ways, it is the most foundational of all. You do not need a finance degree. But you do need to understand the basics. How does compound interest work? What is an interest rate, really? What happens to your money in a pension fund? What does inflation actually mean for your savings? How does a tax bracket work? Most people were never taught these things, and that is not their fault. But staying uninformed when the information is freely available is a choice, and it is a costly one. Successful people invest time in financial literacy the same way they invest money in assets. Consistently, a little at a time. Building knowledge that compounds just like money does. One book, one podcast, 1 hour a month. That is all it takes to begin understanding how money moves, grows, and multiplies so that yours does the same. 15 principles. None of them require a high income. None of them require finance background. None of them are secret. What they all require, every single one, is a decision. The decision to pay attention. The decision to be intentional. The decision to think about money not as something that happens to you, but as something you actively shape and direct. Financial success is not about luck. It is not about the family you were born into or the city you grew up in. It is about psychology. It is about the quiet daily decisions that nobody sees, but that compound, over time, into a life that feels genuinely free. Train your mind. Control your life. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more because we are just getting started.